And we are back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in for this 2022 podcast. I have lined up amazing podcasts for you every single Monday from now on. We're past Christmas, we're past Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, all the holidays, everything's done, New Year, same podcast, new guests. This year, besides interviewing people, having interesting conversations, trying to distill insights and timeless lessons from some of the most interesting people in the world, from industry giants to actors to athletes. I really want to focus, besides doing all that, I really want to focus on growth. I want to grow the podcast as much as possible. I want to try and get it to where I think the podcast needs to be. So I can only do that with your help, guys. So whatever it is that you feel comfortable doing, subscribing, sharing the podcast, supporting the podcast through Anchor, or subscribing to the newsletter, whatever you guys feel comfortable with, I really appreciate that. And I really think 2022 is the year for just exponential growth with the podcast. With that being said, let me introduce this week's guest, Sal Piacente. This man is unbelievable. I had a blast during this podcast. The only thing that you guys, and we did our best to do this, but this is a visual medium. Sal, what he does with cards, you really need to see it to believe it. And that's ironic because you can see it and you still don't believe it. the sleight of hand, the quickness, the distractions that he creates while he does these unbelievable tricks is incredible. I watched it maybe 5, 6, 7 times, still couldn't see it. So we tried our best to clue you in and relay what was happening while he was doing it. But as you know, right now, this is just an audio medium, not a visual one, but we did definitely do our best to convey what was happening in real time as it was happening. Now, Sal is an authority when it comes to casino cheating. He's got a company called Universal Game Protection, and what they do is they help casinos try to avoid, try to detect, come up with ways to eliminate cheating in their casinos. He's been doing this for a very long time. His abilities are amazing, from sleight of hand to his understanding of what cheats do and how the casinos work and how these games work, to his memory skills. His memory skills are second to none. I mean, he took out 21 cards out of a deck, looked at them quickly, tack, 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 one after the other. Remembered all of them. Suit, color, number, everything. So he's unbelievable. And he displayed some of his capabilities today. He remembers, so if you tell him, let's say, what day was January 1st, 1919, he will give you the day just like that. Sal is so fun to talk to. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. He blew my mind every other minute with his card capabilities, with his memory capabilities. The man is fascinating, and I would love to learn more from him and about him. So we did say that at some point later this year, we're going to do another podcast. So stay tuned for that. But for now, please enjoy this week's podcast. First one of 2022, and the first of many to come. So without further ado, here is this week's guest, Sal Piacente. Enjoy the podcast, everyone.
The Genuinely Interested Podcast.
Sal, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing really good. No complaints. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I am more than thrilled to have you. I feel like I have maybe 7 to 8 hours of questions to ask, but we'll try to keep it to an hour and a half. I mean, look, before we started recording, I mean, I have a lot of questions, but before we started recording, you were doing something. And again, this is an audio medium. This is not going to be video. So I'm going to do my best to explain what happened. But you were cutting a deck of cards, and somehow, through your talent, you managed to, and I was looking at your hands. I was looking at your hands the whole time. Somehow you managed to get 4 aces out of your hand, out of the deck into your hand, and show them to me without me noticing or having any idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's called a palm. It's called palming. It's something like whenever you see a magician take a card out of his pocket or your card goes to a sealed envelope, when they take it out, they got to palm it. So when you hold the deck in your hand like this, as I put the deck down, that little pinky kicks that top card out into the palm like that. When it's like this, you can't see it, and the hand conceals it.
Wow. So, but how do you, because you had specifically 4 aces. It's not like you took 4 random cards. You had specifically 4 aces. How do you know to find the exact cards you want in a deck of 52 and do it so fast that no one else in the room notices?
Well, as far as finding the aces, I'm going to be honest, I'm very upfront. A lot of people don't care for me. A lot of magicians really don't care for this too much. I'm very upfront. There is absolutely no way no one could take a deck of cards, shuffle them up, and have those 4 aces appear to the top, unless the 4 aces were already there.
Okay.
It's a trick deck, or the deck is switched. That's it. That's the only way those 4 aces can appear. With you, before we started, I already had the 4 aces on top. When it comes down to, and then I did a false shuffle. What is a false shuffle? A false shuffle is making it look like I'm mixing these cards, but I'm not. And in the real world, you never use the 4 aces. It's the previous hand. So let's suppose these cards are out in a hold'em game. Well, when I pick these cards up right now, I see a pair of 5s. So when I pick these cards up, I'll get those 5s on top. Now, through a series of shuffles, let's suppose there's 3 of us in the game. I want to give them to you in seat 2. When I shuffle, I set those cards up, and you're going to get the pair.
Wow. So again, this is a visual. Sal was just showing how he plays and how he maneuvers the cards. It's hard to portray it in audio, but yeah, all right. We'll get into all that stuff a little bit later. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself. Give people, some background for people who may not know you.
Sure. My name is Sal Piacente. I'm the president of Universal Game Protection Development. I've been in the casino business for over 36 years. I've dealt every game in the casinos. I was a supervisor. I actually worked surveillance, where I was sitting in a room watching for dealers who were cheating. I also was a player for a living. We banked games in California. Mm-hmm. And then one corporation actually hired me to become their game protection specialist and actually created a position for me. And then back in 2006, I branched off and I opened up my own company, Universal Game Protection. And now we train casinos worldwide on how to protect their assets.
Yeah. So can you get into that a little bit? What does it mean to be an expert on casino cheating? And how do you get to a point where that's a title? Like, how are you an expert on that?
That's a great question, because there's no school to go for.
Exactly, right? There's no PhD
in cheating.
Yeah.
No, that's very true. And one thing I will say, I've never cheated. I will make that perfectly clear. I have never cheated in a casino, never cheated for money. So a lot of people think, Sal, you had this capability, you had to do it. It's been an interest in my entire life since I was 13 years old. My father started me off with a 3-card Monte scam. Okay. My father said, son, you're going to see this game on the streets. Don't play it. It's a complete scam. And he showed me how to do it. And then the next day I'm in the schoolyard, hey, watch, find the card of black, win your money back. And it was funny. And that was it. That was my whole interest, where it started, in sleight of hand and magic. And then, of course, for Christmas, I got the magic sets. I got the magic books. And I've always looked for gambling routines. And then when I was 13, we were going to move out to Las Vegas. And that was the first time I actually seen the Strip back in the 70s. And I fell in love. I just fell in love with Las Vegas. I fell in love with the whole atmosphere. Went back home. We never did move, but I got a taste. And then I dropped out of high school. I joined the Marine Corps, received my education in the Marine Corps, got out, and then I turned 21 in Blackjack school and been in the casino my entire life. But because of the interest with sleight of hand, I always read everything I can on cheating, on sleight of hand, on misdirection. And then from there, I got really fascinated with cheating. And through people who knew people, I was able to meet the best. And there was one gentleman who was the best in the world. He's my mentor. And his name is Steve Forty. And I heard he was lecturing once in Las Vegas. Here I am now. At this point, I'm a doorman in New York City. Right? There's a whole story behind that as well. But we'll get into that one at this time.
We got time. We got time. What a building. What was the address?
It was in Rupert Towers.
Okay.
In 91st Street and 2nd Avenue. This is way back. I don't think it's Rupert Towers anymore.
Probably not.
That's where I work. And then a good friend of mine, Sal Sanchez, said, I have tickets to see Steve Forty next Thursday in Las Vegas at the MGM. Well, here I am working midnight to 8. There's no way I can get off from work, especially without a 2-week notice. They're staffing. So now I'm really frustrated. I've never seen this man's face. In the videos that Steve always made, all you saw is his hands. That's it. But you knew he's the best. So Wednesday rolls around. I got to see him. When am I ever going to get this opportunity again? I called a travel agent and said, I need tickets to go to Las Vegas tomorrow. Remember, this was all before the internet, before booking tickets. You got to call a travel agent.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, when do you want to go to Las Vegas? I said, I have to leave tomorrow morning as early as possible. And she said, well, without a 2-week notice, you're going to be paying a lot of money for this ticket. I said, I don't care how much. I have an empty credit card. I don't care. She said, okay, when do you want to return? I said, I have to return tomorrow. And she thought it was a joke. So I bought the ticket. Same day. I actually had somebody come in the next day, relieve me an hour and a half early from work. I went to, I think it was Kennedy Airport, changed out of my uniform, put on my civilian clothes, flew to Las Vegas, got to see Steve lecture, got to meet the man himself. He says to me, Sal, have dinner with me. Now my jaw is on the floor. And I said, Steve, I can't because I got to get back to New York. I just flew on here for this one session to meet you and to see you. He says, are you out of your mind? Call me when you get home. And he gives me his phone number.
Okay.
And when I got home, I literally spoke to him every day. And then I left. I wanted to get back. Now, poker is becoming real popular.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get back into the industry. So I left my doorman job. I went to Atlantic City to deal poker. Went to poker school. And that's where I met my wife when I was out there, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And still spoke to Steve every day on that phone.
Wow.
And to make a long story short, we actually wound up moving to Las Vegas just so I could be close to this man. And I almost lived with him.
Really?
Every day for years, yeah. I got a job dealing craps at the El Cortez. I used to meet Steve at 4 a.m. to 5 a.m, hang out with him till 2:30 in the afternoon at his house, put on my dealing uniform, drive to the El Cortez, deal craps till 11 o'clock at night, get home, shower, go to bed, wake up at 3 o'clock and go back to Steve's house. And it was like, I don't know how many years, but he's the man who really taught me and got me where I am today.
And what do you think? Did he see a passion in you, a burning desire to learn, a natural talent? What do you think? Because at that time when you first met, you weren't really into it, right? Or you were kind of
I was into it.
Okay.
I was into it. No place here. I was in grammar school. This man was in college. I mean, he was so far ahead of me. It's not even funny with hands. And he still is to this day. To this day, right now, there is absolutely nobody in the world better than him.
Wow.
When I lecture, I tell people, I don't know everything. But if you ask me something I don't know, I promise I'll get an answer for you. And he's the first person I call. I've never made a second call, even though I have access to a wealth of information.
Steve, is he well known? I don't think I've heard his name.
He is. I mean, he's a legend in the underground. But now he is becoming well known. He really is. He put out some books that became the Bible to the casino industry.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So where did who gave you how did the nickname Hitman come from?
That was my wife, because I got the killer look with the killer skills.
That's awesome. All right. So as far as casinos, how much do they invest in making sure that they're not getting cheated, annually? I guess is this like something they're still heavily invested in? And I guess by estimate, how much do you think they lose each year to people who cheat?
There's really no way of answering that question. No one knows exactly how much leakage happens.
Do they have estimates?
No.
No?
No, I mean, all they do, as far as leakage, they really don't until the scam is caught. When the scam is caught, then they'll estimate we lost how many millions on this.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
I see. But how much, but do they, because I guess you kind of have to keep up with the times every time, right? Because I'm assuming there's new techniques that come out all the time. People find new ingenious ways to cheat the system, to hack the system. So are they always like a step behind, or how does it work?
They're always a step behind the casinos. And the reason why I say that is because to the majority of people, we're talking about the United States mostly, it's just a job to them. They'll come in, they'll study, they'll look what they got to see, they'll do the 8 hours, they'll go home. These cheats are sitting home. Put it this way, somebody once told me, Sal, if these casino employees put half as much time into trying to figure out how we beat them, it'll be a different ballgame today. We wouldn't have lasted a month in this industry.
Wow.
And there's a lot of truth to that. There really is. Now, I'm not talking about everyone. I'm just talking about the majority. Most people just treat it as a job. They go home. And with COVID today, it's a game changer. It really is for the cheaters.
In what sense?
Well, because you have dealers. Of course, we have a lot of casinos working short-staffed. You have dealers, you have supervisors watching many more games than they should be. They're wiping down surface areas. They're given more responsibilities that take them away from their games.
So understaffed people can, I guess, capitalize on the fact that there's not as much people, not as many eyeballs, maybe, and they're finding. Do you sometimes like sit in awe? Because this is what you kind of do on the daily, right? But because like I said earlier, people are coming up, I'm assuming, with new ways to cheat the system all the time. And that happens across the board in a lot of different industries. But do you sometimes sit in awe and like, wow, that's amazing? When you find out like someone that just did this amazing new cheat, right? And you're like, wow, that's amazing. I would never have thought of that.
Totally. Macau. Me and my wife get to spend a lot of time in Macau.
Okay.
And they had a scam called the cutter scam.
Okay.
When the player cuts the cards, he's given a yellow cut card that he would run across and cut the cards.
Yeah.
Well, in this particular scam, the cheaters had a camera up their sleeve.
Wow.
And as they were fanning the cards, the camera up their sleeve recorded the order of all their cards. So they knew the exact order of 100, 120 cards.
So how would they get that information from the camera to themselves? Okay.
Normally what they would do is now they would cut. When they get to cut the cards, through the cutting of the cards, they would place the cards that they recorded at the end of the shoe.
Okay.
Towards the end. So the dealer has to deal a lot of cards before they get to that sequence.
Okay.
Well, what happens then is that gives the cheaters enough time to go up to the hotel room, download the footage that they recorded, and then play it back.
Oh, I see.
And they get that information back to the table. And remember, it could take hours to deal a baccarat shoe.
Yeah.
Players, they'll wait a couple of minutes, and then they'll bet. They could do big buy-ins, which means they could come in with a lot of cash to exchange for chips, which is really going to slow that game down a lot. So they could do a lot to stop that game and to give the cheaters enough time to get that information back to the table.
Jesus. What are some of the most popular ones that you see, like as far as people cheating?
The most popular ones are just people adding to the bet when the dealer's not looking. That's what we call pass posting, adding to the bet.
Mm-hmm.
Or some of them, they take the bet back. They'll bet $50, and then when the dealer's not looking, they'll take 20 back, or they'll take 25 back. They'll bet 3 green chips, which is $75, and when the dealer's not looking, take back 1. So they went from 75 to 50.
Oh, so small stuff.
Yeah, that's the most common. Marking the cards, that's very common. And they usually mark the cards by just banging it with a chip. When the dealer's not looking, they'll pick up a chip in preparation for a tip to give the dealer a chip.
Mm-hmm.
And when the dealer's not looking, they'll just bang the card as they give it to as they throw the chip at the dealer.
Is it even worth it for, like, I don't know, getting caught for $25? It seems like the risk reward factor is low. It's like if the upside is potentially, I don't know, $10,000, $50, you're like, okay, you know what? It's worth for me to get, potentially caught, go to jail, banned from casinos. But for $25,
you want to see? Let's talk about Denver.
All right.
Not far from Denver, there's a city called Blackjack, Colorado.
Okay.
I used to work up there.
Okay.
The maximum bet was $5. They only kept gambling for historic purposes. $5 max bets.
Really?
We had people betting $4, and when a dealer was going to win, they take back $1. They were cheating for $1. And I have the video footage if you don't believe me. We had people cheating for $1.
Jesus, that's pathological at that point. Like for $1.
Exactly. And the dealers were making killer money. People were betting $5 a hand and tipping the dealer $5 a hand. The only person to come ahead is the dealer. It was insane what was going on when I was out there.
That's crazy. I wouldn't even think people would go play if the max that they can bet is $5, because the upside is so low, right?
It is. It really is. But when you start betting 3 hands, now they got $15 in action. Plus, there's an old joke about a person who's going to go play the game, and his friend said, "You don't want to play there. The game is crooked." And his friend said, "I know it's crooked, but it's the only game in town." So that would be the same case back then. It's the only place to go to gamble if you're a local. So they go bet $5 a hand.
I see. So you don't really see too much of, kind of what we see in Hollywood, where these big orchestrated teams trying to cheat the system, and they've got all these methods and clicks and things, and that doesn't happen as much, right?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, how we met, I'm sure, was through that Vanity Fair video.
Yeah.
Which now it's almost 5 million views already. It's insane, and the feedback is incredible.
It's a great video. I watched it a few times.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I wasn't going to do it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do this. And my wife says, "No, you should do it. It'll be fun. You're more exposure. You should do it." So we did it. And the feedback, it's funny. If you want to hear a quick story about that video, because I am not a cocky fellow. Believe me, I'm not. And I think this is one out of the handful, if not the first time I was ever cocky in my life.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you were cocky at all.
Oh, I'm not. I'm really not.
But even in the video, I mean, I think it's people love a pull of the curtain, a behind the scene look into something that they don't know. And especially with someone who has so much insight and so much experience, it's, it's going to be popular. That's like just a given. It's going to be popular.
And let me about the cockiness. I'll tell you what happened. Vanity Fair got in touch with me, and they were going to do an audition with me.
Okay.
So they're picking other people too.
Okay.
And they're going to see who they're going to pick. So they said, "Sal, listen, we're not 100% we're going to go with you, of course. We're going to send you 2 movies to view. And with those 2 movies, we'll interview about the scenes, and we'll see how you do." Well, they sent me 2 movies. I looked at them. As a matter of fact, I got to be honest, I didn't even look at them. I saw the titles. Well, the reason why I didn't look at them, I know them inside and out.
Yeah.
Out of all the gambling movies ever made, which I really don't care for, there's only 2 of them I really, really like. And
which
these
ones?
are the they sent me. So when she got in touch with me, I said, "Listen, you can forget doing interviews with anybody else. You're going to pick me." And the reason why I say that is because I firmly believe God had a hand in this. You happen to send me the only two movies that I truly, truly love, that I know inside and out. And those are the two you send me, which is the movie Casino and the movie Rain Man. And
those, because you have, and I don't know if that was in that. Oh, okay. So let's take it back for 1 second. If you can explain to people what that video was about for people who may have not seen the video. And then the other one is, I don't know if it was that video or there was another, but I did hear you say you knew the person that Rain Man, the movie Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise was based on, right?
Oh, dear friends. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you a quick story. Sure. We filmed over 5 hours, and I spoke so much about that movie Rain Man. And real quick, just about that clip about Vanity Fair. It was fun to do. I mean, it was really, really enjoyable. Met nice people. But when I started seeing all the comments, people really lost track of what that movie was, that video was made. Mm-hmm. That movie, first of all, was not meant to teach cheating.
Okay.
It was definitely not meant to say casinos cheat. Mm-hmm. That clip was only made to show you how Hollywood's accuracy is sometimes not correct.
Most of the times.
Exactly. For example, Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
Okay.
You can flip cards 12 feet in the air, and you can catch them. You see some people, they'll catch them, they'll spin them around, they'll catch them. Yeah, and they'll throw them through a carrot, they'll do this. Ricky Jay was phenomenal at card throwing.
Okay.
But when I saw that movie, I'm telling you, there is no way you are taking that card, palming it in the back of your hand. Then when security turns you around, you throw it, I don't know how many feet around the corner where the woman catches it behind her hand.
Yeah.
Then she loads it in her bra. As she's taking her bra off, she flips it over her shoulder. I said in that movie, when I was watching that, they cut this out. The best part of that clip was the end. That was the best part. The end, when the credits rolled. That was 20 minutes of my life I'll never get back.
Yeah.
It was Hollywood, and Hollywood did a phenomenal job at computer graphics.
Yeah.
That cannot be done for real.
Yeah.
And
I was just going to say that's so true. I've been, I don't want to say lifelong, but at least half my life I've been doing martial arts. And whenever I see fight scenes in movies, I'm like, that is just horrendous. Like they always make the guy, the punching and the way they edit it, the way they cut it. Like there's never a long sequence of fights, except maybe like someone like Jackie Chan, who's amazing and he does all the stunts. But 99% of the fights that you see on screen are just horrendous. They're just really bad.
It's Hollywood. It's the truth. Yeah. And that's exactly what they did with all these gambling clips. And that's the only reason why we made that movie. It's just that clip.
Yeah.
It's just to show you how some of the stuff is not real. And some of the comments you see, oh my God, they're just as worse as a Hollywood produced movie.
You should, this is just rule 10. This is 101 internet. Don't read comments. I never interact like with people on Twitter, or sometimes I have the YouTube videos out, just never interact unless it's nice comments. But otherwise I just never interact. I just let people write whatever they want.
I don't blame you. Well, you know how many people in my comments said card counting is not cheating? Watch the video. I said that. I said that verbatim. I said, card counting is not cheating. And everyone just started commenting, card counting is not cheating. Yeah, I said that. I really thought that was really, really funny.
Yeah. Could you tell a little bit about the Rain Man character, your friend?
Sure. Well, what happened was, in that video, Rain Man, I show in that clip, I show computers that I did for Vanity Fair. Okay. That you wear in your shoes.
Yeah.
And those computers are not card counting computers. They keep track of the cards in a compositional manner. Mm-hmm. They know exactly how many 3s are left, how many 4s are left, how many 5s are left. Well, I could do that with a single deck of cards. We play blackjack. You deal me a deck of cards, and at any point say stop. And I could look at you and I would say, oh, you have 12 10s left, 1 ace, 3 9s, 2 6s, no 8s, 1 7, 3 5s, all 4 4s, no 3s, and 1 deuce. And I could do that on a single and a double deck game. Well, when I did that for my wife says to me, my God, that's right out of the movie Rain Man. So I said, I never saw the movie Rain Man. I got to go watch Rain Man. Well, in that clip, Tom Cruise does that. He turns cards over, and he says to his brother Raymond, who's autistic, Raymond, what's left? He says 2 9 3 8, and goes through the whole scene. Yeah. So I'm like, oh my God, that is just what I do. Mm-hmm. But can this really be done? I mean, that's a script. So I started looking up Rain Man, and I found out there is a character. Well, I shouldn't say there's a human named Kim Peek, mm-hmm. who is the real Rain Man, who could really do that. So I'm like, oh my God, I got to meet him. Now, my wife will tell you, when I want to meet somebody, it is literally no holds barred. No, I'm meeting you. Believe me, I'm meeting you. I drove all the way from Las Vegas to Oakland, California to meet someone, shake their hand, get in the car and drive back to Vegas. So really, there's no holds barred.
Yeah.
So this Kim Peek lived in Salt Lake City, Utah. Well, I'm going to California. Mm-hmm. So when I'm going to California, I'm gonna do a standby in a layover in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And when I come back, I'm doing a layover in Salt Lake. So I land in Salt Lake, and I told my wife, when I come back, I'm staying here until I meet Kim Peek. I know he goes to the library. I know his father, Fran, takes him there every day. So I'm going to meet him. My wife says to me, okay, do what you got to do. I'll see you when you get home. Mm-hmm. I hang up the phone. Literally, the man walks on my plane as I hung up the phone. I'm sitting there. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I don't believe this. This is Kim Peek right in front of me. As I told my wife about him, and I hung up the phone no more than 2 minutes ago. Now I call my wife back. I said, Z, you are not going to believe who's on my plane. She says, Kim Peek. I said, how do you know? She says, duh. How do I know? You wouldn't be calling me back so excited. Yeah. I was very fortunate in my career to meet NFL stars, NBA stars. I got to know Pete Rose. And I mean, I don't know anything about these people. I never watched games. But when this man walked on my plane, I am freaking out. Like, oh my God, look who that is. I'm getting out of my seat, but I can't wait to go meet him. And I met his father. I said, Mr. Peek, I'm a big fan of your son, Fran. I'd love to, I'm a big son of your, back it up and get excited talking about it. I met Fran. I said, Mr. Peek, I'm a big fan of your son, Kim. Yeah. I've always wanted to meet him. And then he says to me, where do you live, Sal? I said, I live in Florence, Kentucky. And his son turns around, and Kim Peek goes off on this whole rant. Cincinnati, Florence, Kentucky, that's 13 miles out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Your two major highways are 71, 75 that go through you. 275 is your loop. Your area code is 859. Used to be 606. Told me all my local radio stations.
Jesus.
Told me my local TV channels. Told me everything about where I lived. And then he did that with everybody on the plane. Now I'm like, oh. So I said to him, would you be free for dinner if I come back to Salt Lake City? His father, Fran, says to me, Sal, whenever you come back, let me know. I said, no, Mr. Peek. And he says, call me Fran. I said, Fran, that's not the question. If I come back, are you free for dinner? I would love to take you and your son for dinner. He says, anytime. I said, how about Saturday? It's like Wednesday now.
Yeah.
He says, yeah. I get home on Thursday. I said, Saturday it is. Flew to California, did my lecture, came back home. Me and my wife got tickets for Salt Lake City. Got there Saturday morning, had dinner with him and his son. And then I literally spoke on the phone every day with his son until the day he died.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
So he's like an encyclopedia of information walking around, just knows everything. It's like, because we all absorb information, right, on a daily basis, but we don't retain that information. Like I read stuff all the time. I don't remember, everything because it's just that we have a limited capacity. But it's almost like he has unlimited capacity to absorb information. Is that it?
Well, his brain was built differently. We have two hemispheres. He has one. He was born without the corpus callosum, I think it's called, or the part that goes to separate two hemispheres. And there's a fluid in the brain where you have a small amount, he had a larger amount. So his brain was wired different. I mean, he couldn't put on his seatbelt. You couldn't have a regular conversation with him So,
but he's a genius.
Phenomenal. As a matter of fact, they couldn't give him an IQ test. They gave him, I think it's called a KQ test. Oh, yeah, phenomenal what his brain could do. Most savants are experts on 2 categories. He was an expert on 18.
Wow.
His father couldn't take him to concerts. He had perfect pitch. If a musician was off, he'd know it. When he went to a Shakespeare, he was invited to the rehearsals, not the actual play. Because if an actor was off on one line, he knew it.
So he memorized the whole thing in his head.
Oh, instantly. And he wasn't malicious. Not one bad bone in his body. He would try to correct the actor, just to correct him, not to show off.
Yeah.
He just say, no, that line's not right.
Wow.
They took him. He loved the Civil War, loved the history. So he went to Gettysburg. And they said, Kim, you want to do a private 2-hour tour? He said, yes. And the tour lasted over 6 hours. And at the end of the 6 hours, the tour guide said, I've learned more in these 6 hours hanging out with him than I did studying the Civil War my entire life.
Wow.
Kim taught the tour guide.
So it's almost like I don't want to say injustice because that sounds bad, but they almost, because it seems like he is so varied and layered and there's so much depth and knowledge on all these other things. And they kind of took like one sliver of knowledge that he has with the card counting thing, and they made a whole movie around that, right? And that became like, for everyone, like if you're a genius now in cards, everyone still calls till this day like, oh, Rain Man. That's the legacy of that. But he's a genius in so many other factors, or like other than that little one thing.
That's right. When you meet him, one of the first things he'll do, and this is something I always enjoy. When I meet someone, this is the first thing I like doing. Let's suppose you said, Sal, do something for me, and I don't have cards with me. I don't have anything with me. Mm-hmm. So I would just ask you, what month were you born?
What, me? April.
April what, if you don't mind me asking?
29, 1983.
April 29?
Yep.
83. That was a Friday.
How do you do that? Okay, because I've seen you do this before. I want to throw out, so I actually pre-prepared a few dates because I would never know if you're right or if you're wrong. And I wanted to see if you would remember that. Could we do a couple?
Please.
All right, let's do it. So mine, you were right. April 29, 1983, that is a Friday.
When you turn 100, it'll be on a Thursday. When you turn 65, that's going to be on a Tuesday.
I'll have to take your word for it.
You can look it up. You see I'm right. Then you'll call me up later and say, Sal, you were right.
All right, let's do this. January 10th, 1979.
Hang on. January, because I got to be careful. There's a leap year. January 10th?
Yep.
79?
1979.
79. That was a Wednesday.
Jesus Christ. July 6th.
Call me Sal.
July 6th, 1948.
48. Tuesday.
How do you do that? How? All right. So how do you do that?
All right.
Okay. And okay. So I have another. So there's a segue to another question. Because I feel like magic or illusions or whatever it is that this is called, it's kind of maybe split into two. There's the illusion part, right? Like, what's the guy's name? That he goes on the street and does all the magic cards. David Blaine,
right?
And I feel like every time I've heard him talk, he's always of the mind of what I'm doing is real. This is an illusion. This is like it's all real, right? And I'm sure some of that is real, right? Because like I saw, I don't know, Joe Rogan pierced his hand, right? I don't know if you saw that video.
I did.
Okay, so that was real. There's no way to fake that. That's like something he worked on, or the fact that he, what he did something else. What was it? Oh, he swallowed a frog and kept that frog in his stomach, and then he brought it back up. So those things are real. Mm-hmm. And then there's the illusion part, right? Where like it's a sleight of hand, it's a distraction. Like you're not looking at what I'm doing over here. I'm doing this over here, and then this is the result. So there's those two things, right? So the memory part, that's an actual physical ability that you have. That's not some illusion. It's not a trick.
No, I can teach anyone this.
Okay.
What started this off was this. I'll show you this real quick. Now here, first I want to show you that.
Try to describe it for people who can't see it, please.
I want to show you that this deck, I really am shuffling.
Okay.
Okay, you can give me a shuffle deck. I'll do a small slug. But let's suppose here. Those cards are memorized now. So I don't know how many, there was about 15 cards real quick.
Yeah, so he took out about 15 cards or so. I remembered maybe 2 of them.
Okay, I could wait a long time before I want to bring those cards out. Now, and what got me started in this was a scam where, let's suppose I'm playing Blackjack. As I pick these cards up, I'm going to memorize them. Now, if we're going to do this for Blackjack, remember, 10 Jack, Queens, and Kings are 10 values.
Okay.
So watch, when I shuffle this deck up now I do a false shuffle, which makes it really looks like I'm shuffling these cards, but I'm not. Now you can cut the cards and I'll deal until I see a key card. I'm looking for a 5 of clubs. There it is. Mm-hmm. Now here's your 3, 7, 3, 10, 5. 3, 7, 3, 7. A 10 and a 5. Here's your 10. Here's your 5. I'll name the next 6 cards before I turn. I can name the next 9 cards before I turn them over. But the next 6 cards are going to be a 2, 6, 2, 10, a 3, and a 4. 2, 6, 2. 2, 6. A 10 value, a 3, and a 4. And if you said, Sal, I want suit and value 2, the next card's coming out right now. It's going to be the Jack of Club. I'm sorry, the King, the Jack of Clubs. 10, 4. You know something? I'm sorry, that's when the real shuffle came in.
Yeah, there it is.
So let's do this.
All right.
Let's suppose I'm playing bridge. These cards get dealt. And now I'm remembering the cards suit and value.
So you're just taking, he had a deck, he's taking out the cards and he's looking at them and remembering them as you're going.
Exactly, but they would be memorized as the players are turning them over, as they're throwing them down, because you have community cards in bridge. Okay. So as they're throwing their cards down, I'm going to be looking at them. Mm-hmm. Then when I pick them up, I do a false shuffle. I'll retain the entire order as I shuffle, and then
you're essentially what? You're only shuffling half the deck.
Well, I can do the whole deck here.
But I'm saying but you're keeping those cards in the same order, right? The ones that you remember, you're keeping them in the same order. And then the other half or whatever other portion of the deck, you're shuffling. But the other, okay, yeah.
They really get mixed. The other half really gets mixed. However, if I want to do the whole deck, now I'm going to keep the whole deck in order. So this deck is going to look like it's being shuffled. I'm keeping all 52 in order.
Wow.
Well, when I shuffle them, it's a real shuffle. But now, as I shuffle them, that packet goes through each other. And I just do a false shuffle. So they really don't get mixed. It just
the card at the top always stays on top, and then you're shuffling everything underneath.
And then when I square them up, my fingers push those packets together at an angle, so they're actually going through each other.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then I strip them out and put them back on top, so the whole deck stays in order.
Oh, wow.
I don't change one card.
And it's and this isn't so guys, just again, I know you're only hearing this, but if this is done in slow motion right now, and it's not that it's impossible to see, you can see it, but when you're doing this at full speed, there's no way anyone, or at least any novice like myself, there's no way they're picking this up.
Yeah, I agree. Even overhead cameras from surveillance, if you know what you're looking for, it'll be hard to see.
Wow. So I recently heard magic being described as an asymmetry of power. The magician knows something about your mind that you don't. Do you think that's an accurate way to describe it?
No, I think it's a con.
Really? Why?
Yeah. There's I mean, of course, they'll do all kinds of things to make it look like they're reading your mind. I mean, there's some things you can do. Like, there's absolutely no way they could have known that when they can.
Well, not reading your mind, but they know something about your mind that you maybe don't, right?
Oh, yes. For example, I know if I point over there, I can make you look over there.
Yeah.
I know when I talk to you, I'm going to look you right in the eye. You're going to look right at my eye. There's no such thing as a perfect move, only a perfect time. And the cheaters they'll wait, or they'll create that perfect time, or they're not even cheater, the magician. They'll do when you're not looking. Here, you got this whole table. I'm going to have you look at a card. So if everyone out there listening, I'm going to have you look at a card. Just say stop. I'm going to turn it so I can't see. Say stop.
Stop.
Do you see that card?
I do.
Perfect. Now watch this. I'm going to shuffle this deck, real shuffle. And I'm going to have you find that card. Name any number between, let's say, 10 and 20.
Just random number? 7.
The 7th card will be your card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Was that your card?
Nope.
What was it?
I see it on the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, of course, I'm in a confined space. But as I spread these cards, everybody's looking. You'll never see the left hand load the card underneath that cup.
And that's so crazy. Like, so again, for the listeners, he showed me the cards and then he spread them all out. But in the meanwhile, my card was sitting to the right next to the coffee cup. I wasn't even paying attention. I was looking. So you were directing me the whole time. I wasn't even paying attention to the actual card that was sitting there. I was looking at all the cards that were just that you laid out in front of me.
Correct.
Wow. So it's mostly misdirection. It's a lot of like sleight of hand, like quickness. And so wow. Oh, this is, I love this stuff. Do you think that, I feel like in movies, the people that do these type, like Ocean's 13 and all these type of, I don't know, cool. It's always like they're very cool, right? And they manage to pull off these heists and steal millions from casinos. And I'm sure some of it is taken from real life. I'm sure a couple of those things have happened. And they're always kind of celebrated, right? Like they're a pop culture phenomenon if they're able to do it. Why do you think? And then like on the flip side, the one that does the 3-card monte or the kind of like the street hustlers that try to take you for your money, those are not celebrated in the same fashion. But I feel like when you steal from air quotes the man, right? When you take from the casino and you're able to do that, those are more celebrated. And that's why they're, such popular movies, right? Ocean's 13 and all these other movies that became very, very famous and very popular.
Yeah, for some reason, people are fascinated with casino cheating because, like you said, they're getting over on the man. Yeah. I mean, they're still thieves. There's no doubt about that. But a lot of people, for some reason, think the casinos deserve it.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
Because people can't beat the casinos. The casinos has the edge in their favor. Math does not lie. Mm-hmm. The casino has the edge. If you go to a casino and you play a legitimate game, no cheating, no advantage play, you just play a straight up game, the casino's going to win in the long run.
There's just no...
They have the edge. Those games are mathematically designed. Whenever a new game is developed, the first thing the casinos want to know is, what is our edge? Yeah. Some edges are much greater. For example, if you go to a casino and just play a regular blackjack game, and you play perfect basic strategy, the house advantage over you is only 0.5%. That's not much. But when you take those side bets, like if you go to a 3-card poker table and you start betting the pair plus, the house advantage is like it's like over 7% on you. It's so strong. You can't win that game.
So why do you think people go? I mean, slot machines, for example, right? Like, you're going to lose, right? Like, I don't know, one person in like a quadrillion is going to hit the jackpot, but you're going to lose your money, right?
That's so true.
And it's the same with a lot of these other games. I'm not a big casino guy. I like to play poker, but what's the psychology? And I mean, like, also, if they know the casinos, if they know that eventually the people are going to lose, how do they what's the marketing behind that? You can't say that come to our casino, lose all your money. That's not a good slogan.
No, they don't. But they say our slot machines have a 99% payback. People are like, oh man, it's an attraction for them.
Yeah.
Plus, also you have these pseudo people on eBay, not on eBay, on YouTube, how to beat this and how to beat this machine. Before there was all kinds of books on how to beat this game, and people really think it could be done.
Yeah.
Certain machines are beatable. Certain machines you can get an edge on. You know, I don't know the machines. I am not a slot person.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some slot machines, like they might have like a fishing pond. And as the more coins you put in, there are more fish in the pond. And when that pond gets full, that means the jackpot's about to hit.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that. So they'll play the machine. If they don't hit, they'll walk away. But there are other people that would just walk through the casinos looking for those machines to see, okay, which ponds are almost full. We're going to play that one. Well, guess what? When that machine, you hit that jackpot, yeah, you got paid your 100. But look at the 100 people that put $10 into that machine that didn't win.
Yeah.
So the house still made 1,000 plus the 100 you're going to win. The house made 900 on that. So yeah, slot machines, they're going to win.
Yeah. And look, I've never seen an empty casino.
No.
The casinos are always full with people.
Always. People think they're going to win.
Yeah.
And I love when people say, oh, they gave me a free room. They gave me a free buffet. You just lost $500. They gave you a free buffet. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and they give you free, right? If you're playing, I remember in Jersey, I went a couple of times and they offer free alcohol as long as you're playing. It's like, yeah, just keep playing. And obviously the more drunk you get, inhibitions out the window, you're playing worse because you're not as crystal clear as you were 2 hours ago. So it's just inevitable that you're going to lose your money.
For sure. And in the long run, you will. You keep playing it because same thing with poker. You sit down and we play an unlimited hour of hands.
Mm-hmm.
The house wins.
Yeah.
The house gets that rake.
Yeah.
So me and you can go back and forth. If there's three of us in this game and we play nonstop, guess what? The house is going to get the money at the end. The rake. The house gets the rake.
Yeah. Are you allowed to play in casinos?
Yeah. They frown upon it. And you'll never see me play. You will never see me play. Because if I go to a casino and I win, the first thing they think is, oh, this guy's cheating.
Yeah.
But if I lose, the first thing they say is, oh, this guy ain't that good.
So you're at a lose-lose.
Exactly.
I see. But what when you used to play, what was your favorite thing to play?
Well, but if I did play, it'll be blackjack with basic strategy. When I told you I did play,
mm-hmm.
we banked games in California. I was actually the house. We worked for a group, and in California, they have player banker games. So it was a pie gow game where I just sit there and the dealer deals the hands, and I got to make sure the dealer sets the hand properly. I got to set my hand properly. Then the dealer will take the money in front of me,
mm-hmm.
take the losers and pay the winners out of my bankroll. So essentially, with this group, we were the house.
Oh, interesting.
And I played a little bit of card counting with a gentleman named Rick Blaine, who's a phenomenal card counter. He was running a team.
So card counting is completely legal?
It's 100% legal. 100%.
So why do they always make it out to be like it's illegal? Hollywood?
Yeah. And of course, if you are counting and the casino does catch on to you, they're going to back you out. They'll say, sir, your play is too good for us. We don't want you to play.
Can you explain what card counting is for people who may not know?
Sure. If you're a blackjack player,
okay,
when you count cards, the cards will favor you when the remaining cards to be played are rich in tens and aces. When a deck becomes rich in tens, it favors the player. So no matter what card counting system you use, it just tells you when the cards that are left are rich in tens. When they are, that means increase your bet and change your strategy. If it's really rich in low cards, walk away or bet very little. That's all card counting is.
How would they achieve that though? Like how many cards are out on the table? Like based on what's the formula?
What happens is The cards are assigned a value.
Okay.
Like the 10 values, they're assigned a value of -1.
Okay.
So when a 10 is removed from the deck,
Yeah.
that means that this deck is now -1 high card compared to the low cards. When a low card comes out, that means it's a +1 card.
Mm-hmm.
Now that means the deck is rich in high cards. The more plus, the more rich it is.
Okay.
The more it favors the player. So the more plus counts, the more it favors the player.
I understand. Huh.
So some casinos are not allowed to back you off, but they do reserve the right to shuffle up whenever they want. So they can actually cut the cards in half. If they have a 6-deck shoe, they're only going to deal you 3 decks, and then they're going to reshuffle on you, which would have an impact on a card counter.
So if you're losing all your money, which is what the casinos want, that's fine. If you're winning a lot of money, at some point they're going to say, "Hey, buddy, you got to get out of here. You're too good. We're losing money." So essentially, it's the best case scenario is you win a little money in a casino. Is that it?
Well, people laugh on that video. Some of the comments on the card counting was insane. People don't have a clue. One guy left a comment today that said the high cards are plus cards. No, it's not. High cards are minus.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There's a lot of YouTube professionals out there that know everything about everything, and they're going to tell the professionals exactly how it is. Because I'm a YouTuber in the basement. All right. Yeah.
That's so true. So long story short, you and everyone thinks about the MIT team. You really think you need to be an MIT graduate to count cards? 3rd grade. You give me any 3rd grader, I can teach them how to count cards.
Really?
The real skill in counting cards is longevity. If you tell me you played in 20 casinos and you got backed out, that means you're not very good. Mm-hmm. Tell me you played for the last 10 years, you never got caught. Then I'll say you're a strong player. The skills to be a card counter is nothing. It's the skill in camouflaging it and hiding that you're not a counter. That's the skill.
Yeah. Yeah. Not getting caught is the tough one, right?
Exactly. I mean, there's some really good ways, which I'd rather not get into, obviously. This is not a teaching podcast.
Yeah. This is not this is not how to cheat podcast. Yeah.
Exactly.
Can we touch a little bit? I think we maybe didn't go in depth as much as I wanted to about the memory stuff. Are there like techniques? There was a great documentary I watched a few years ago. I forget the name, but it was about these memory Olympics that they have. And I actually had one of the guys on the podcast. I think he was one of the first episodes I ever had on.
What's his name? Is it Nelson Dellis?
Nelson Dellis, yeah.
Nelson, great guy.
Great guy.
You couldn't have a better person on the show.
Yeah, mountaineer, memory guy, like just across the board, amazing guy. And but that was like a year ago. And that was just memory for the sake of memory. Where here, like, I feel like there's memory for the end result is a little bit different, like what you want to achieve from it. Mm-hmm. But I am interested in like, what are some of the strategies for people to increase? Because you don't have to, like, for the most part, majority of people, we don't have to remember the whole 52 cards in the deck. And but you do. But I think overall, it is good to obviously increase memory capacity. So,
sure. And it's always good to practice.
Yeah. So are there some good strategies that you can instill upon us?
I'll show you how this was done. As a matter of fact, let me do this for you real quick. Okay. We will legitimately shuffle the cards. This would be so much better to do in person because I'd rather you give me a shuffle deck.
Okay. Next time we'll do it in person.
Deal.
All right.
Let me just see something real quick. So right there, those cards are memorized. So I got a quarter of the deck done, suit and value. I could wait a long time if I want to bring them out. But on top, here's going to be a 10 of diamond. Well, the cards could be marked. So let me name them before I turn them over. Okay. But on top, you're going to have a 10 of diamond and a 4 of spades. The 10 of diamond, the 4 of spades. After the 4 of spades, you're going to have the 8 of hearts, 8 of diamond. After the 8 of diamond, Let me think about that. If I knew it was a red eight, eight of diamonds, and then it's going to be your two of spade, nine of spade, two of spade, nine of spade. After the nine of spades, let's go with the four of clubs, and then we're going to have the eight of hearts, then the nine of hearts, and then the queen of hearts. So we have the three hearts in a row. After the queen of hearts, let's go with the jack of diamonds. After the jack of diamonds, we're going to have king of diamond and a six of spade and a four of diamond. King of diamond, six of spades, the four of diamonds. And then we have the five of hearts. After the five of hearts, let's go with the 10 of club and the seven of diamond. The 10 of club, the seven of diamond. And then the seven of clubs, and then the three of clubs. And I think after that was the eight of clubs. The jack of spades. Ooh, let me think about this. Jack of spades, nine of diamond. After the nine of diamond was the seven of hearts. So
how many cards is that you just remembered off the cuff? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22 cards.
You just remembered 22 cards just like that.
Yeah, that took about maybe, I don't know, a couple of seconds. And it's not set up. To go a little more, be a little longer. But yeah, 10 cards for Baccarat. I can memorize in about a second and a half.
But how? Like, what are some techniques that you've worked on over time?
I do not care what memory champion, what memory enthusiast, they all use the same system. They take pictures. They turn everything they want to memorize into pictures. Okay. And then they associate to each other. I'll give you a great example. Let's suppose, okay, you have a pair of dice. And you're going to throw them into the sewer. Really see that happening. You're taking the dice, you're throwing them into a sewer, okay? Okay. And then coming out of that sewer is a dove, a beautiful pearly white dove. Do you see that? Okay. And that dove is flying to the sun. We'll just do a couple more. That sun, on that sun is a big bar of soap. And I want you to see that soap melt. I want to see it bubbling, it's fizzling. I mean, this bar of soap is going to melt in a millionth of a second with the heat from the sun. Yeah. Do you see that? Yeah. Now you have a bar of soap. Let's make a car out of that bar of soap. We'll put wheels on it. Do you see that? Yeah. Okay. So what was the first thing that me and you had? We had a pair of what? Dice.
Dice, yeah.
Pair of dice. Now, I'm not going to get into how, if you want, well, why. If you want me to, I'll be more than happy to. Dice are assigned a picture to the 10 of diamonds. Now, what we do with the dice, we throw them down the sewer. Yeah. Sewer is the four of spades. What was coming out of the sewer?
Dove.
A dove, 8 of diamonds. Now, I'll tell you this. Okay. The first word, the first letter of the next word is going to be the suit. So if it's a C, it's going to be club. If it's a D, it's going to be diamond. If it's an H, it's going to be heart. Now, where was the dove flying to?
Sun.
The sun. Sun starts with S.
Correct.
Spade.
Spade.
Sun, N. N is a 2. That's got to be a 2 of spades. What was on the sun?
Soap.
Soap. That's another S, correct?
Yeah.
That's a spade. P. The next consonant sound you hear in soap is a P. That's a 9. This has to be a 9 of spades. And then what was that bar of soap? What were we making it into a car.
Oh, yeah, a deck. Car. A car, yeah, a car. Yeah, okay.
That would be the 4 of clubs. And then around the car was a beehive. Hive. Starts with H. Yeah. That's going to be a heart. And V is going to be an 8. That's an 8 of hearts. They were playing basketball with a big hoop. Heart, 9. Queen of hearts. Queen of hearts is covered in diamonds. That's the jack of diamonds. I was putting the diamonds on a drink. King of diamonds. The drink had a sash around it. That's got to be the 6 of spades. On the sash was a door, 4 of diamonds. With hail, 5 of hearts. Hail had a case, 10 of clubs. In that case was a duck, 7 of diamonds. That duck was building a cake, 7 of clubs. On that cake was a cone, the three of clubs. So that's how I did it. I turned everything into a picture, and there is nothing new.
Do you think, I mean, or not think, sorry, but have you ever gotten in trouble or like threatened by people? Because essentially what you're doing is some of these people I'm assuming are petty criminals. Some are maybe a little bit more serious criminals, but you're spilling the beans on a lot of industry secrets and things that some people may not want people to know, may not want to be exposed in that way. So I don't know. Have you ever gotten into that type of trouble?
No. You're really not. I mean, first of all, I'll never see the people who are getting in trouble or getting caught.
Yeah.
When I lecture in front of surveillance staff, table game staff. Most of my, I shouldn't say most, but now some of my lecture in schools and universities, I'm more known now for my memory than I am the cheating. When people, magicians who want to meet me, when we meet, the first thing they say is, wow, I'm a big fan of your memory work.
Yeah. I understand. Do you enjoy seeing the responses from people when you're able to blow their mind with the stuff that you do?
My wife enjoys that more than me. My wife is always looking to see the reaction of people. But me, no, I enjoy teaching.
You do seminars now?
Well, I do lectures on memory. I do a lot of memory, well, not a lot, but I do some universities. I do a lot of hotel, customer service, memory training. I mean, you can't have customer service without memory.
Yeah.
Dale Carnegie said it best. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And when you use memory skills on a patron, it shows that you care.
That is very true. So mostly memory stuff nowadays.
For me, I like reading. I mean, my full-time job is no casino cheating.
Yeah.
My full-time is casinos. We lecture all over the world: Macau, Singapore, Cambodia, New Zealand, Australia, the Caribbean, all over the States. Yeah, just on casino game protection, the latest of the greatest.
Where's the next big gambling country coming out of right now? Like, where do you see Macau? I know, it's probably
Macau's the Mecca.
It's the Mecca,
Macau,
right?
Is the Mecca. That is the Mecca gambling. That's the gambling Mecca of the world.
Does it put Vegas to shame?
Oh, please. In Vegas, if you bet $500, you can get a comp. Out there, $500 wouldn't get you a cup of coffee. These people are betting millions a hand out there.
Really?
It's insane out there. Insane. The money they bet and the action.
Wow. But does it have that same entertainment value and because Vegas, there's a package, right? It's the whole scene. It's not only the gambling. The gambling is one part of it.
Yeah, Macau, no. You are going there to gamble, and that's all you're going to do. That's it. I mean, they don't have movie theaters. They don't have big shopping malls like we have and all that. They do have malls in the casinos, but as far as entertainment value, no, Nevada has that with all the different shows and everything. Yeah. But Macau, they have good shows. They got Cirque shows. We enjoyed ourselves out there. But Macau is gambling. It's hardcore gambling.
What's the most popular game out there?
Baccarat.
Baccarat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I played it.
Simple. There's nothing to play. You have betting. How do you want to bet? Play or banker? There's nothing to decide. You don't have any say-so in the game at all except where to bet. And the dealer, the rules are all built in already. And you got to get to 9. The hand that gets closest to 9 wins.
That's it?
That's it.
And that's their favorite game? That's
the biggest game. It's fast. It's action. It's fast. And that's what they like.
What's the most popular in Vegas? Probably Blackjack, right?
Blackjack is, I think, is the most popular.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I played I played once and no idea what I was doing, just sat down. I was like, why not? Just put a little bit of money. And I completely screwed up all the other people's hands. They got really pissed off. So I was like, I'm just going to leave the table. I don't know what I'm doing.
That's a big myth. Big myth. The way you play your hand actually has no bearing whatsoever on anybody else.
Tell the people I played with, man, because they were pissed.
Yeah, they do. They believe in that fallacy. Yeah. They really do. They believe in that. Oh, no, you're going to sit on third base. Do you know how to play? Oh, look, he took the dealer's break card.
So there's actually, it's a fallacy?
Yeah, it's not real whatsoever. How you play your hand has no bearing at all on other players. None at all.
Because I've always heard that they're saying essentially, I mean, I guess their logic behind it is you stole the card, right? Essentially, is that it?
Yeah. Oh, look, he took the dealer's 10. No, he didn't.
That's too good. Sal, this was a lot of fun, man.
Oh, I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time today. Where can people? Where are the best places to find you? I don't think you're on social media much, right? But the website or any other place that you want
Facebook. You can find me on Facebook.
Okay.
Sal the Hitman. You can find me on that. That's my fan page. You can definitely find me there. Feel free to message me there. My website. I have a work email address as well. Universal Game Protection. If you go to that website, you'll see some articles on memory and cheating, and see some video.
Yeah, definitely go check out that video that we mentioned earlier, the Vanity Fair one.
Yes, great video.
Yeah, that's a great video. That's what put me on to Sal initially, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. On top of this podcast, which was awesome as well.
Oh, I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Glad next time we have to do it either in person or we'll do a video where we can show some of the stuff like physically, because I know I loved watching this, and I'm sure like the audience would love to visually see it as well, rather than just hear it.
Yeah, it's definitely a visual thing to see.
A visual medium. All right, we'll have to do that next time, man. Again, Sal, thanks so much. I really enjoyed our time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Take care, and we'll do it again.
I look forward to it. Have a great Thanksgiving, you and your family.
You as well. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.